cannot trust these leeches. I cannot trust these streets. I cannot trust these bitches. I gotta trust on me. I cannot tell my business. Stretching out racks, no fitness. Yeah, I swear we goes. We need to go down and get this. I put the gang on my shoulders and carry on. I put the strap on my shoulder and bring it home. Haters be low-key fans and singing my songs. I swear to God, if I see them in person, I'm doing them wrong. I gotta stay focused, they pull out their camera, take pics. Every time I'm closing my eyes, I'm seeing me running from pigs. She don't speak or don't talk, she shy, she needed something to get lit. You coming and fuck up the vibe, we scratching your name out the list. Yeah, I got my soul in this. Yeah, then I told them this. Yes, sir. Yeah, gotta stay focused. Yeah, we don't focus. I must stay focused on these big bank rolls. I can't trust these hoes. No. I must stay focused on these big bank rolls. I can't trust these hoes. No.
Yeah, maybe too big, it can't fit in the driveway. I've been fucking hard since Big Worm been on Friday. I've been tripping hard on these hoes since MySpace. Taking the top out of beans, baby. Taking the top out of beans. If I pull up with your rent, baby, you guys swallow my kids. If I'm a dog, I'm a pit, baby. Having fantasy love with a rich lady. I put it on my list. She mad, I told my friends. I stop hanging with your nigga, just fuck on you. Every day, baby, on your daddy. And I wanna caress you, just fuck on you, bitch. I just add you to my life. Rose gold beans, rose gold rims and ties. Rose gold shaded chain gang. All's brother is bro, that is up in Petersburg. Slaw, make your pussy slurp.
Today, we're going to talk about the college basketball and college football games, NFL plays for the weekend, and of course, the squad ride. This is Behind the Lines. Cooper Kupp might be washed. 4 targets, no catches. The guy ran a half a marathon. I've seen 20 tweets about it this morning. The guy didn't do a single thing.
Yeah, that was a frustrating bagel for a lot of fantasy owners.
Is this what we've become down in Blacksburg? Just complacent, happy to be going about our day and being a moose shit program, celebrating a kid getting 1 point against North Carolina A&T? He better fucking score a point. You're playing North Carolina A&T. He's leading college football, Jovan, in every single statistical category for a wide receiver. Every single one. And you don't give that guy the award? Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. At the end of the day, you got to reward teams for winning fucking games. And if they're in a power conference, they're in a power conference. I'm tired of this big dick swinging contest between the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, and ACC. At the end of the day, you got to fucking reward winning. Welcome to BTL Friday, the best BTL of the week, episode 610 piece. As always, hold the fry, joined by your 2 hosts, Krabs and Jovan, presented by Bookit Sports. If you're not tracking your bets on Bookit, start today, start this weekend, start in 2025, start tracking your bets on Bookit. Could not be easier to use. Could not be a better bet tracking app out there. Go check it out in the App Store or Google Play. Go check out Bookit. Jovan, how we doing? Happy Friday. W squad ride last night. 1-0. Undefeated.
Yeah. Good start to the new year, huh?
That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Trot's Picks coming in with a resub. He's cutting the shit. He's getting right to the chase. All I want for the new year is an unblock on Twitter from Jovan. I promise not to chirp. I've been in timeout.
I wonder what you did. I wonder what he did to catch that one.
Trot's Picks. Yeah, good luck getting unblocked, my man. It's not going to be easy. Okay. Jovan, great call on the squad ride last night. Good to see us. Good to see the good guys get one in the win column. 1-0 to start the new year on squad rides. Let's make it 2-0 after tonight.
Why not?
Why not us? Love it. Let's check out the Sharp reports and see how we did on those plays yesterday. 3-2 from me. Imagine fading Mitch Jeter. That was a terrible play. Jovan, how about a sweep? The floor is yours. My goodness.
Yeah, shout out the Irish. That's really all I got to say about any of those plays. Irish dumped Gunnar Stockton in the SEC champs. Who would have thought? Goats.
Great game. Go Irish, go.
Need some Goots Glaze. Need some Goots Glaze.
Yeah, can we get some Goots comments up here? Can we get a good speech?
We can.
Speech, good.
Just continue to get disrespected, continue to not get believed in. I fucking love Marcus Freeman so much. I mean, that guy has so much heart. He's a motivator.
He's got a lot of
he
heart.
knows how to get a team ready. Xavier Watts might be the best defensive player I've ever seen in my life. That guy is in every single tackle, every single play. I mean, just that defense is something to watch. Great game. Very excited to belt to ass Penn State.
You know what? Because I was talking about this with some of my friends. The one thing that not a single person said leading up to this game was that it was a guy's first start against Notre Dame's defense. I didn't hear that one time.
No.
One time. Everybody got to the place that it was Gunnar Stockton's already better than Carson Beck because you let a touchdown on one drive in the second half against Texas. And then now that Notre Dame beat him, it was Georgia was starting a backup. It doesn't count, yada, yada, yada. Never going to give Notre Dame any credit for a win. Right? But here we are again.
Doesn't make sense.
Defense looked great. That game was over before it even started.
Yeah.
It was always the Irish. Great call. Chat, hope you guys cashed. We got AL100s coming in, dropping a resub as well. Let's have a good Friday, gents. Yes, sir. We got a lot to get to today. We're going to talk college basketball. We're going to talk these college football games for today. And obviously NFL weekend preview. I know it's week 18. I know half the games don't matter, but we're going to do our best here. Give you guys some winners for the weekend in the NFL. And we got a hype train moving and grooving. We got Boston Sports Store coming in, dropping a resub. Love to see that. 35 months. Jeesh. That's a long run, Boston Sports Store. We appreciate you, my man. Anybody dropping a follow on the Twitch page? Welly, NY Nello coming in. East Lou. We appreciate you guys. Thank you for the follow. We are live on YouTube as well. At Bookit Sports. If you want to check us out over there, it's free to sub. Okay? Appreciate you guys. Let's have a great Friday. All right, let's go ahead and hop right into the Sharp Report for today so we can go over these plays and get to the fun stuff for the weekends. Jovan, you ready to hop in?
Of course.
Let's run it. Okay? Look, not the greatest slate of all time today. It ain't much, but it's honest work. I'll get it started out with a nasty college basketball play, and that's Iona, who I did not think was going to be a favorite when I checked out this line. Late last night, but they were, and now they're catching a little bit of steam. I'll take my chances with Iona here in this spot against Marist. They've struggled so far this season, and honestly, they're coming off an L in a sharp spot in their last game where they lost to Harvard when everybody was on them in that one. And Marist is a team that you really don't want to fade typically. This team's been a recovery machine for the last year and a half, 2 seasons, and they're 9-2 right now. They're on fire, but I could not resist in the spot tonight. You got Iona coming off a loss. Iona's lost 3 of their last 5 games, playing a red-hot Marist squad. But these records don't mean shit at this point of the season, Jovan. They haven't even gotten into conference play yet, and all it really means is Marist has had a much easier strength of schedule, and Iona's actually played some real teams. And in my opinion, I'd rather back a team that's played some real squads and has a shitty record right now at this point than backing a team that's 9-2 because they've played a bunch of made-up schools. I'll back Iona here, catching some steam. They're the better team in this matchup. They're home. And in my opinion, they're catching steam for a reason. They're the sharp play in this game. And Marist, who's been red hot, finally drops one. And Iona bounces back after a bad loss to Harvard.
Yeah, could so get down with that. Once we get into the conference play, start of it, sharp spots start getting sharper. And now you get a talented Iona team favored at home in a game they probably shouldn't be favored in. I'm in.
Yep. Back in Tobin. We'll see how it goes.
That's a crazy. Yeah, I didn't even see that money line parlay up there. There's no way you're fading both your teams.
We'll get to it. We'll get to that puppy. All right, we can just go right into it now. Yes, I am fading both my teams. Sure.
Dude.
I'm fading with my teams. Listen, all right, we got Minnesota on the ML. And it's minus 350. You got to pay to play, but I mean, look, that's not losing. We're not winning this fucking bowl game. No chance. It's the Duke's Mayo Bowl, and we're getting 10 points in this game. In 2025, when everybody's, losing people to the portal, we're getting 10 points in a bowl game. Are you kidding me, Jovan? Give me a break. We're not winning that fucking game. And then the Wizards, don't let them get hot. It literally might be too late. The Wizards have won 4 of their last 11 games. They're on the hottest streak they've had in 2 years. The Wizards are on fuego right now, Jovan. If only somebody told us to bet them the last couple of games when they've actually won. Actually, they did, and it was me. And now we're fading them, okay, because they're not fucking winning this game. Jovan, I don't know if you're hip as well. The Pelicans, not only are they terrible, they have a worse record actually than the Wizards at this point. But they are on a crazy losing streak right now. They've lost over 10 games in a row, and they're laying 7.5. Okay, look, I'm no rocket scientist. I'm not even an NBA specialist, but my spidey senses are tingling when I'm seeing a team who is playing their best ball in 2 years, the Wizards right now, coming off a win on the roads, getting 7.5 points, and we're seeing steam 3 points towards the Pelicans. This line opened up at 4.5. And then I wake up this morning, the line's all the way up to 7.5. The Pelicans don't deserve to be laying 7.5 to any team in the NBA, especially the Wizards, who are playing some pretty solid basketball right at this moment. Not good, but solid. So we'll fade the Wiz Kids, Jovan. We'll take the Pelicans to get their first win in over a month, and we'll pair it with Minnesota in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Fuck the Hokies.
That's insane. Insane out of you. Fading the Hokies.
I mean, it's
and the
hitting.
Wizards. That's unbelievable.
It's hitting. It's a two-piece. It's turning green. It's minus 120, and I will be taking it.
I'm definitely with you on fading the Hokies. So I can get down with that. I'll probably do that. But my God, did not expect this from you today.
It is what it is. I'm not happy about it. Look, I wish I could come on here and back both of my teams every day. Right? I wish I could come on here and say they're sharp, they're good. I can't, Jovan. You know how much I want to do that? I'd bring one singular tear to my eye. I'd be so happy. Unfortunately, my teams suck. I can't do that. And this is a great spot right now to pair their two opponents today in a little parlay. Go about your day, count your guap, count your guap. It's that easy. It rarely ever is, but tonight it is. Okay?
Fair enough.
One more play, and then we'll move to yours since it's still up here right now. Favorite play of the day today, Ohio State. CBB. System play, unranked team as a favorite against a ranked opponent, and it's finally time for Michigan State to drop one here. They've been on fire. Nobody's talking about it. Nobody's gassing up Tom Izzo's squad, but they're playing some good basketball right now. They're ranked again, but as they head on the road to a pretty solid Ohio State team, in my opinion, that I think is undervalued and underrated in the spots. They're playing good ball right now. They're coming off of 3 straight wins. They've won 4 of their last 5, and I think it's all Buckeyes in this spot. With this total as high as it is, if it was a little bit lower, I'd be a little bit more worried. I think it's maybe more Sparty. But with this total as high as it is, I think it's Ohio State's offense that carries a little bit in this one, and they get a big-time win at home. They're catching steam. Look, they're 9-4. They're unranked, and they're minus 2.5 against a ranked opponent in Michigan State. System play has to be done. A team is a favorite against a ranked opponent. And I also love the spot for the Buckeyes here, and I like this team as well. New coach, new squad this year, no Zed Key. Those are all 3 pluses. I love the Buckeyes in this spot, and I think they get a big-time win against Michigan State tonight.
Yeah, I'm in on that. Fade Sparty. I think this is the spot where they get got, and I just don't think they're that good. So I'm in for that.
Agreed. W's. What are you crafting up on straight bets over there?
Take it to the ice first. Going with this Habs Blackhawks over, which, frankly, I'm really surprised. It's like plus money at 6.5, so like it's probably going to teeter between 6.5 and 6 for the majority of the day, unless it like catches serious steam one way or the other. But it being at 6.5 in the first place is very, very odd. It's not odd for the Canadians because they get 6.5 totals. They don't play really a lick of defense, but they're coming off of a handful of games since Christmas break where they have played quite a bit of defense, and they've been really, really good. Like ever since they came out of Christmas break, they have been 3-0 against 3 very quality teams. They shut out the Panthers. They beat the Lightning 5-2. They beat VGK 3-2. The thing is, the Panthers were kind of reeling before the break. I know they've been a weird team to figure out. They got shut out right before the break. They came out cold. They shut them out. They went on the next day to face the Lightning with Jonas Johansson in net off a back-to-back with no Vasi. Then they played VGK, who was also off a back-to-back. So not to devalue any of those games, but because they played 3 really good teams, but they caught them in probably some of the best spots possible in every single one of those games. So I'm kind of throwing the defensive stats and what they did in those games kind of out the window a little bit in this one. And it especially helps when you're playing a Blackhawks team who just played in the Winter Classic game, got incredibly embarrassed by the Blues. You got Connor Bedard throwing apologies to the city of Chicago on the feed. So can guarantee they're probably going to come out a little fired up today. I don't think their defense is going to help them. So like, just like the Sabres, I kind of think the Blackhawks can stay in this game, but whenever they stay in this game, I don't think it's going to come with goals, or I don't think it's going to come without goals. They're going to have to score to do it. So taking this over, definitely one of the weirder totals I guess I've seen in the NHL recently, that it's kind of sitting at 6.5, because Blackhawks have only had like a handful of 6.5 totals all year. So it feels pretty telling.
Yeah, I mean, Blackhawks have definitely had some overs recently, right? They haven't had an under hit in about 2 weeks. Probably the only thing I don't like about this play. Everything else I love about it. You're talking about Chicago on a losing streak. You got players on the team apologizing for sucking. Maybe they step up and put some fucking pucks in net for the first time in weeks tonight. They're home, right? You got that Sam Montembeau 2.5 goals allowed square, which I'm sure you've peeped as well, which is relatively new. I don't think that was up when I was doing the Sharp report. If it was, I might have even put that square in there because those squares, knock on wood, they pay and they play, plain and simple. Would love to take that more than on that goals allowed square, and that goes perfectly hand in hand with that over in that game on the ice. So sign me up. I'm in. Love the play. What's next? No way we got 2 Wizards angles. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Wizards Pelicans. I'm going to take this over because I think this is a splooge fest for a lot of the stars in this game. I feel like this is going to be full offense. Obviously, it's not reinventing the wheel saying a Wizards Pelicans game is going to go over, even though the Pels are pretty short-handed. But both teams, I guess you can say, are coming off of a relative stretch where they've played some tougher defenses. I know the Wizards are coming off of playing the Bulls in their last game, but before that, they played a couple straight games against the Knicks, which is much, much tougher. And then you have the Pelicans, who are coming off a handful of games where they've been really, really bad in general, but a couple games where they've played much tougher defenses, much lower scoring games. The last one being the Heat in Miami, which I don't even think they cracked like 110 in that game. It was 108. So like they played them, but they played the Clippers right after that, right before that. Now I love betting teams in this spot when they kind of collide, and this is their one time to score points against one another. So the defenses are bad, transition defenses are bad, kind of speaks for itself. I think this is the game where you get an absolute pool party and he goes nuts. You get DeJounte Murray fighting for triple doubles on the other side. Like this is going to be cinema type game that obviously nobody wants to watch because it's these 2 teams, but it's one of those games that spawns and you look up and it's 135 going in OT. Some crazy stuff.
Well, shit, that's not really good for fading the Wizards in my ML parlay, but I could certainly see an over, and I could certainly see no defense because, that's the Wizards' middle name. They don't play like a defense. They never have. They never will. We got a subby coming in from Maximus Dimes 3 minutes ago for 4 months. Love to see that, Max. We back. Yes, sir. W's. Happy BTL Friday. Thanks for stopping by. Jovan, you're not going to have to tell me twice. An over in the Wizards game. I'm looking at some of these Pelican squares as well, and it's looking like some of them are going to have pretty good days offensively. Looking at some of their squares on Prize Picks for points, so we might bring that up here in a moment. But loving points in that one. Let's hope they're mainly coming from the Pelicans, who are starving for a win. I think it's been over a month since they've gotten a win. Jesus, they got to get one against the WizKids.
Yeah, have to. I don't know.
People forget I faded Poole in his last game as well, and he had 30 points. On New Year's Day, it looked like he had not had a sip of alcohol in a month in that contest. Looked healthy as an ox, looked good, looked, not hungover one bit. Looked fine.
I don't know if he's fadeable right now. I don't know if he is.
He's on fire. Isn't it crazy how the Wizards, even when they're playing at their best, they're still just dog shit?
Yeah.
Like, that's how much work it's going to take to rebuild this team. We need 3 more years of this until we can even get anywhere close to what OKC did in their rebuild. Sad. But hey, Sarr's playing pretty good. I want to give him some credit, and I'll probably jinx it, and that might help my bet tonight. But Sarr just won, I believe, offensive or maybe rookie of the year in his conference. I forget what it was, but he won some sort of award for the WizKids. Good for Sarr getting it done. Maybe it's because no other rookies are doing shit in the NBA right now. That's probably it. That definitely helps. But good for Sarr getting up and moving and doing some stuff and putting the ball in the hoop for once, averaging like 13 points a game. Good enough for me. Good enough for me as a rookie. So keep doing your thing. Look, he's pretty raw. He plays defense at least. He's an effort guy. He shows up, and I was pretty hard on him early on in the season, but he's starting to play pretty good. Probably just jinxed him right there.
He's definitely starting to get together.
Playing pretty good.
Encouraging signs. It was painful to start.
Encouraging signs. He might not be a bust. I feel like that's at least fair to say right now. He might not.
Yeah. The project that's coming along.
You like Wisconsin. Is that your CBB play tonight?
That is, Krabs. And I wanted to fade Iowa for a couple of reasons, but their whole strategy this year, because, they play fast. They play a lot of offense. They chuck a lot of threes. On defense, it's never really been there. We know that. It's kind of how they play. But for this year specifically, they've been focusing a lot more on, if you want to take layup lines against us, take layup lines. We're going to close out on the 3 and not let you shoot threes, but you're going to get any 2-point look you want at the rim. The problem with that against Wisconsin is they have been elite at the rim so far this year, with a couple of guys that I know we can talk about that have been not only getting to the rim, but getting to the free throw line at will. John Tonji comes to mind. Max Klesmet has even worked in the 2-point arc or the 3-point arc a lot more often. you still got Steven Crowell in the paint. You still got a handful of bodies that are coming off the bench to do it. So, like, that's honestly been one of the bigger points for Wisconsin so far this season. So when I see an Iowa team that's saying, we're just going to outshoot you, go ahead and take any layup you want, and they're coming off of a couple of games, one before the break and one after the break, where they shot 55% and 60% from the field and very well from three as well. Yeah, I'm going to fade them when they go on the road to play Wisconsin, who is the perfect counter to all of their weaknesses on defense in this game, which is probably why this line feels maybe a little high, a little bit of respect, up to 6.5. And one of these Big Ten games that we've seen have already gotten really weird to start, conference play here, but I'm buying in. I think this is schematically a perfect matchup for a couple of guys on Wisconsin that we'll talk about in Prize Pick Squares, but the team as a whole. So I think they're mucky.
Yeah, I mean, if you look back at the history of the series too, Wisconsin's had Iowa's number in recent years, but Iowa did beat them the last time they played and earlier in 2024. So I like that angle, right? You're back in Wisconsin coming off that loss the last time these two squads played. Do I love laying 6.5 and you need Wisconsin to win this game by 7? No, I don't love that. But in my opinion, that's a pretty fat number against two, relatively comparable or equal squads. So in my contrarian brain, let me go and translate that. That's a good sign for Wisconsin there, up from 4.5 to 6.5, almost 7 some places. I lean this way. I think they win. I think they cover. I think Wisconsin's a great money line parlay piece tonight as well. You could even get super cute and take them with Ohio State on the ML, and that would pay out probably around plus 200s. So if you're looking to get, greasy and take a 2-piece ML parlay, that's a good look. But if Jovan's telling me Wisconsin's winning by a touchdown, they're probably winning this game by a touchdown. And I like that they're coming off a loss to Iowa the last time they played. Two teams with contradicting styles, but we know Iowa doesn't play a lick of defense. That's probably not going to change tonight. Why not back Wisco here at home to get it done, win this game by a tutty?
Sure.
I like it. Heavy Bets likes it in chat. We got Canelo Loki a fraud. I definitely botched that name, but we got Canelo coming in, dropping a resub for 24 months. Jeesh. I'm no doctor, but that's 2 years, Jovan. That's a long time. Goodness. Maximus Dimes coming in. That's a lot of months. Hype Train moving to Griven. Love to see that as well. W's chat. We appreciate you guys getting involved on a BTL Friday. W, Mikey, and Joshy before BTL today. Getting our day started on TMA. You can always go back and rewatch that on the YouTube as well. Good shit, Mike. And Josh, you're getting the day started today. All right. Jovan, you want to talk about some Prize Pick Squares after going over some straight bets?
Of course.
Before we do, we got a subby coming in from Moreno TTV. Love to see that. Giving out a subby to the community. Sure. We also got a first-time chatter coming in. Jackson Carr. Yeah, what's the lock? He said, cut the shit. Give me a winner. If I had to take one play today, it would be Ohio State on the ML in college basketball. Jovan, I'll ask you the same question.
Honestly, it would probably be the over in the Wizards game.
That's crazy. And that those words should never be said, but the fact that they are is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Just involving the Wizards. Death wish. I got PTSD. But I'll meet you at the cash counter with that one. All right? God, dude, are the Pelicans winning their first game in 2 months today? It might be a month and a half, legitimately, since they've won a basketball game. Somebody in chat, go check a calendar for me, like legitimately, because it's been probably 5 or 6 weeks. That doesn't happen. We'll see if it happens again tonight.
Crazy.
All right. Let's go back to the Mayo Bowl. The only thing that matters today, Duke's Mayo Bowl. And I'll say it again because I think the Hokies probably deserve to get shit on a little bit more from the public, but they won't be because nobody cares about this game at this point. VT does not deserve the Duke's Mayo Bowl. And that's a sad sentence to say. They don't deserve the Duke's Mayo Bowl. There should be a better team from the ACC in this game. On a Friday afternoon, or Friday night, excuse me. There's an afternoon bowl game we're going to talk about in a little bit here. But Jovan, the Mayo Bowl is not, it's not Ma and Pa's Mayo Bowl. This is a solid bowl game at this point of the season where there's only 2 college football games on today on a Friday night before we get to the weekends. I wish there was a better product on the field for you guys to watch and bet on today. We don't deserve to watch the Hokies. We deserve something better tonight. And I'm sorry for that. I'll take the blame. This program is rat shit. It's a joke. And I'll tell you what, Jovan, you remember what Darius Taylor did last year in the bowl game? Probably not off the top of your head. It'd be weird if you did.
No, trust me, I do.
Okay, you do. Yep.
He went off.
He had 200 yards, I think.
More.
200 yards, 220, something like that. Absolutely carried this Minnesota team in their bowl game. And Jovan, I usually don't say stuff like this, but he's going to do it again in this bowl game. And let me tell you why. Well, reason number one, if you have a pulse and another year of eligibility and you were on Virginia Tech's football roster, you're gone now. You're on a new team. Smell you later. There it goes. See ya. From Bob Carpenter there. There's a call from the Nats. You're on another team. You're probably sitting pretty, counting your guap on your new SEC squad, to be honest with you. We got guys on Auburn. We got guys on LSU. Shit, we got guys going to Mizzou. Jovan, if you're a starter on this team, you're gone. You took your bag. You're going to the SEC, or you're going to at least a legitimate, competent fucking football program. These kids deserve better. I don't blame them one bit. If I was them, I'd be leaving too. Fuck Brent Pry, and this team is not heading the right direction. Well, Jovan, some of their best players in their D-line won't be playing this game either because they're either going to the NFL or they think they're going to the NFL. Give me a fucking break. Or they've transferred, right? So Darius Taylor is going to have every opportunity in this game to dominate. It's going to be like, every couple of years you see the Hokies get destroyed on the ground by a team like Pitt, where they just come in, they got their two bruising backs, and they just absolutely tear up the Hokies, running the ball right down the fucking gut. It's exactly what you're going to see today because there's no heart, there's no life left on this team. This is a VT corpse that they're trotting out there on the fields. They got Bud Foster they're calling off the fucking couch to call this game on the defensive side of the ball. What the hell is he going to do? Unless he's got some cleats and some pads to go out there himself with a lunch pail, he's not stopping Darius Taylor, future NFL running back. You fucking kidding me? And Jovan, look, I'm no mathematician, but he's got about 875 yards this season. He's about 125 yards away from getting 1,000 yards on the ground. So I don't know if they have up the category yet. I wanted to originally take his rushing receiving yards combo. I'm looking right now. I don't see that category up. So we'll stick with the rushing yards here. But he's getting 125 yards on the ground. Whether it's in the first quarter, whether it's at the end of this game, they're making it happen for him. And he's their workhorse who I'm assuming they want to return next year and not go take a bag to go somewhere else. If that's the case, you want Darius Taylor to stay at Minnesota, maybe you hand him the rock 100 times in this bowl game, keep him happy, right? And get him those 1,000 yards. So Darius Taylor, he's getting triple digits, if not more, Jovan. And then Yves Missy, we're going back to this fucking Wizards game. I cannot believe it. Full circle, but this also got bumped up to 11. The over on the books is super juicy as well, but let's keep this one simple. Bless Alex Sarr's heart, but he doesn't stand a chance against Misi in the paint getting rebounds. Misi's better take his fucking lunch money and stuff him in a locker in this game. With the tempo running up and down the court in this one, we're probably going to see some serious points, right? You like that over in that game? Sure. But all the shots, the few that the Wizards do miss, you're going to see Misi grabbing all these boards because Sarr's already going to be in transition, trying to get his ass down the other side of the court. Give me Misi's rebounds. It's getting bumped up. Love this square. He's absolutely dominating in the paint against the Wizards tonight. And the few shots that the Wiz kids and the Pelicans miss, Big Misi will be grabbing those boards.
Yeah, I'm always in on anything in that game, really. So you could twist my arm. And I was looking at that VT game too, obviously, because I need a square, and there's not much up for either of these games today. And it's definitely in consideration. There's been some rumors swirling around that Daniel Jackson, their wide receiver one, might not play today, and half their squares got taken down on Prize Picks too. So
damn,
if he ends up not playing, then it's huge for that square. I would assume he's going to get fed either way, but especially if Daniel Jackson's not playing today.
I mean, wouldn't you just think as well, like, you're Minnesota, you have a stud running back who's only a sophomore. You probably want him back next year before he goes to the league. He's probably only got 1 year left before he goes to the NFL, to be completely honest with you. Don't you give this kid the ball 40 times if he wants it? How do you not?
Yeah.
You want him to come back to school next year? You're not giving him 10 carries. You're feeding him the rock. And he's grubbing just like he did in last year's bowl game. Keep the kid happy. Keep your star happy if you want him to return to school. Yeah, I love that square. Jovan, I want your thoughts on the Mayo Bowl. I want your thoughts on the sides. I want your thoughts on the Prize Pick square. I don't know what the hell you're about to pick in that game, but very curious.
It's probably going to be Darius Taylor. I'm kind of waiting to see if the Daniel Jackson stuff is for sure, because if he's for sure not playing and that comes out like a little bit before the game, I probably want to take just one of the other wide receivers like Spencer or something there and kind of take some value there. But I like Minnesota. I'm fading the Hokies with you, probably with them straight on the books. And I don't know if I can take anything except Darius Taylor. Options are slim, but that's where my head's at. I'm right with you.
I hope they put up a rushing receiving combo category for college football. That'd be cool if they did, because I would love to take his more than 140 rushing receiving yards if they put that up, because I'm sure you've seen that receiving yard square that's up for him. That's extremely wrapped. That I kind of figured you would have involved in some capacity. Yes,
I have, and that would only sweeten the deal if there's no Daniel Jackson in the receiving game too. So I would be 100% down.
Yep. We need a 3-man demon slip, Jovan. Jay Nasty says. We'll see if we got time for that. All right, let's go to Jovan Squares. Very curious to hear what he's crafting up. And he's got an NBA square and college basketball. Sure.
I do. Starts with Trae Young. I pointed this out, I think, a couple of times when I've taken it on the Sharp Report, but it's like kind of a system that I'll follow with Trae Young. Anytime he's playing a defense that is both horrendous in transition and horrendous in pick and roll defense, I'm taking his assists because these are the teams that he absolutely destroys. And a lot of the games where, I don't know, a lot of people on Twitter take his assist or take his anything and get burned is when he, I don't know, when he's faced just high scoring games, or he's in high scoring games just against bad defenses in general. But realistically, these are the games where he gets super, super aggressive on the assist end of things and facilitating the whole offense. So welcome into Los Angeles Lakers basketball, because they are the pinnacle of the defense that Trae Young absolutely destroys. And definitely helps that, Trae Young loves to be the villain, and look where this game is tonight. Perfect spot for him to do that. And I think he's going to put up a pretty good stat line tonight. Probably includes 15 plus assists. So I will be very in for that.
I'm in for that as well. Couple questions from chat. Jovan, do you have your POD squares ready for today? I'm sure he'll tweet them, C. Burnett, when he does. BG Global coming in. Is the quarterback playing for VT? Well, which one? We've got Kyron Drones, who is hurt and he's not playing. You could make the argument that's a good thing. We've got Pop Watson playing QB today. You can make an argument that's a good or bad thing for the Hokies offense. So he might even be better than Drones. And that's maybe not even saying much, which is kind of my point. So both those kids are coming back to school. Those are the only two guys I know who are returning to VT next year, because they both think and want to start for the Hokies next year. We'll see how it goes. We got another tryout for Pop Watson, who I like, playing QB for the Hokies today. That's kind of why I don't like the under in this game. I think the Hokies could put up a couple points, and Pop looked pretty solid in that last game. So wouldn't be shocked if, the 2s and the 3s show up for him as well. They're guys he's been working with all season on the scout team or with the backups. They probably have pretty good chemistry as well. And those are going to be the guys playing for the Hokies today, because all the starters are gone, right?
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes. How it goes. All right. Colin Schlee. Yeah, I have not heard a peep out of Colin Schlee, so he's gone. He's out of here. All right,
cake.
John Tanji. Yeah, he's cake. John Tanji.
Yeah.
You mentioned him earlier when you're talking about Wisconsin. You think he's going to be one of the guys getting the wide open layup lines?
I think he's going to be the guy, either getting the wide open layup lines or taking trips to the free throw line. And I see he got some crazy bumpage. 3 points is crazy, especially when you look at that chart. But I really don't care. I think he's going to absolutely tweak in this game. He put up, I think, 40 earlier in the season, 41 when they had that big game against Arizona. Not saying he's going to get 41 again, but in a game with, I think, a 162.5 total against Iowa, where you got a team that's going to let you take whatever you want at the rim just because they don't want you shooting threes. You have a guy that takes 7.5, almost 8 trips to the free throw line per game. He's the leading scorer. He's the alpha on that team. I don't think the ceiling is high enough for him this game. So, if he wants to have 40, I wouldn't be shocked. If he wants to have 30, I would not be shocked. I would take some demons, and if they get offered, I 100% will. So 19.5, taking him to get 20 ball also does not scare me, and I will reinvest there as well. But I talked about the matchup. It's absolutely perfect. You get to the rim on Iowa. This is the guy who does it for Wisconsin. And if he doesn't make him when he goes to the rim, he gets fouled and he goes to the free throw line. This has to be the John Tanji game. I think he absolutely goes off. He's the reason they will beat Iowa by 7+.
Yeah, I know it's a game involving Iowa, so the total is always going to be a little bit higher, and these guys' squares are going to be a little bit higher than they typically would be. But a 3-point bump, those don't grow on trees. Him getting bumped up from 16.5, which I can confirm, Chad. I locked in a lineup with our 4 squares from the Sharp Report before BTL today, because I'm getting smarter, and I know that they always get freaking bumped. I locked it in at 16.5, not that long ago. So, Jovan's made it very clear that, he still likes it at 19.5. No problems there. And in a game involving Iowa, I mean, look, there's going to be points had in this one from both squads. Do not be scared off by this big bump in CBB. You don't typically see 3 points, but I think it's John Tanji dropping a 20 berg, maybe even a 30 berg if he can get to the line enough. I'm with you. I like it.
Yeah, for what it's worth, too. I know it's just the start of conference season, but especially from deep, he shot a lot better from home than away, which you would assume for a lot of guys. But for him specifically, the splits, especially from the 3-point line, are very drastic. So he's not like a volume 3-point shooter necessarily, but definitely helps if you want him to have one of those games.
Yep. Looks like SBR got it in before the bumpage. Let's go SBR.
SBR. We are taking SBR into 2025. Rooms are
just say SBR. You get a POD square you like today, my man? Let me know. Do not be a stranger. Okay. Holy Howitzer said Pop Watson is goated. Sure. We'll see how that plays out. God, man, this game sucks. Did I talk about it a little bit more once we go over these others? We got 2 college football games we can talk about, but for now, I think we're done. You down to go over some NFL weekend previews here? Talk about the plays we like for the weekend?
Sure.
Gutsy, run that shit. All right, chat, let's run it. NFL weekend preview. We're going over our favorite plays for week 18. I know there's some games that don't matter, but we found ones that do. And we're just trying to make some money out here, put some money in your guys' pockets as well. So listen up, tail responsibly, and tail accordingly. And Jovan, let's get it started out with some snooze fest. Get the unders out of the way. I've got an under in the Giants and Eagles game. I don't know if this is square or not. It's still an under in a game involving the Giants, and the Eagles obviously don't have a quarterback right now. So in that sense, sure, it's square. And we saw the first time these two teams played, the game did go under, but that was not because of the Eagles. I guess it was because of their defense. They only gave up 3 points, but they still scored 28. In this game, I'm not expecting 28 points even from the Eagles. In this one, I think it'll be a low-scoring affair. And after the Giants just scored 45 points, the most points they've scored since Eli Manning was their quarterback, I'm not expecting many points from them either in this game. Both teams are coming off of overs. The Eagles have 2 straight overs in their last couple games where they've scored a combined 70 points in those 2 games against against the Cowboys and the Commanders. The Giants, like I just said, they're coming off a big-time game where they put up a 45 burg. Not expecting the same thing or history to repeat itself in this game when these two teams face off. And with that total dropping from 39 to 37.5, this looks like a no-fun game that nobody wants to bet, nobody wants to watch. But I'll go ahead and make some coins on it and take this nasty under. There's a reason why this total's dropping. And I think the Eagles honestly might lose this game. Seeing that number down to 2.5 on the spread for the Giants, I think they're a live dog. But instead, I'll go with the under in this game. Going to be the worst game of the day. Terrible.
Sure.
Terrible.
No issues for me. I mean, I know it's definitely different situations because you got the whole Eagles team resting for the most part, and they didn't last week, but seeing a total at 37.5 when both teams scored 40 plus last week is still kind of funny. I'm sure there's some crazy trend backing that, taking the under in the next game.
Sure. Then you got, the Giants stable, still coaching for his job. I'm sure at least they'll get up on the defensive side of the ball against a rival, right? So you're at least going to get at least minimal effort in the beginning of this game from the Giants defense. We'll see how long it lasts. But as long as the Eagles don't put up a bunch of points early, as long as the Eagles don't get a couple fucking pick sixes going in this game like they did in the last one, I'm not seeing many points.
Sure. Man. I like this Chargers-Raiders under, which the Raiders, sneakily, been kind of good the last couple weeks. Granted, they're playing 2 teams that are right there with them in the cellar of the league. So, it kind of hurts them. Didn't get it. It's like I don't think they're going to be trying to win this game, even if there is the possible situation. I don't really know what I lean in that Bengals-Steelers game. It's a tricky one, but that one's Saturday. If the Steelers do end up winning, never want to count out Tomlin as the dog. This game doesn't mean anything for the Chargers, and I assume you're probably going to get rested starters for at least a partial or at least a part of the game. So there is a chance you get some CLV if that ends up happening on Saturday and this total drops a little lower. But I'm assuming that, just for the sake of this, the Bengals are going to win the game. The Chargers are going to need to play and try and move up seeding-wise up to that seed where they were playing or trying to play the Texans, I believe the matchup would be. But the Raiders, they've won the couple games against bad opponents, but really since before then, their defense has been playing with a lot of heart. The QB situation has been fluid with all the injuries and putting a bunch of different guys in there, but the defense have been playing with heart. They've been keeping things in front of them, which is good to limit explosive plays. So I think regardless of how this kind of shakes out, I think the Chargers are going to run the ball a ton on this defense and milk the clock. Not just because what else are you going to do in this game where you're clearly overmatched or clearly overmatching a team like the Raiders, who's probably trying their hardest not to win 3 games in a row and really mess up their draft position, but it's the way you got to attack this team. A couple of the better teams that the Raiders have faced recently have kind of found that out, the Bucs being one of them. So I think this is a pretty gross game. And again, if the Steelers end up losing and you end up getting, I don't even know who their backup quarterback is at this point. Maybe I think it's Taylor Heineke. Maybe we get Taylor Heineke in there. This total is probably going to drop quite a bit.
If we see Taylor Heineke out there on that field, I will be a happy guy. That's for sure.
As you should.
Nobody deserves it more. Comments on this comment from Mandy Bands in chat. People don't realize that players do not go out there and try to lose intentionally. They do not care about draft picks. They care about keeping their job.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. If people don't understand that, they should not be wagering on sports. I want to go ahead and make that perfectly clear. Yes, the players are not losing on purpose. Okay. Now, a coach might be coaching to lose, right? Depending on if their job's safe or not. But the players are going out there to earn their job for next season. That goes for any sport at this time of the year, towards the end of the year. Yeah, they're still playing for something. They're playing for their job next year, 100%. That's a good reminder, for sure. And if you guys don't understand that, you got to hit the reset button in your brains. Good point from Manny Bands that, seems simple, but good little reminder. These guys are still playing, right? And, that's a good reminder for when we get to my meat on tape play. We'll talk about in a moment. When you guys are asking yourselves, why the fuck is he taking that play? Well, I'll bring that up again for Manny Bands. Okay. 2 unders. Jovan, we got the under in the Giants and Eagles game and the under in the Chargers and Raiders. Sure. Let's move. Overs. Somebody call Mike. Curious to hear your thoughts on the Saints and Bucs over, Jovan, but I think the Bucs will keep their foot on the gas in this game for the entirety of it, not only for playoff purposes and because they need to win, but because they have Baker Mayfield as their QB, and that's what they do. Their middle name is keep their foot on the gas and put up points. The Saints as well, they need to put up some points just for their own mental health. And at this point of the season, they're 5-11. They're going to be making some serious changes next year. Who knows who's even playing quarterback in this game for the Saints, but whoever it is will have a decent opportunity because that Bucs defense is nothing to write home about, right? It's not your Mimas or Peepaws, Todd Bowles defense. They're not great. So whether it's Rattler, whether it's, literally whoever's under center for the Saints, I got a feeling they might put up a couple more points than they have been in the last couple of weeks where they put up 10, 0, and 19, averaging 29 points in their last 3 games. That's no bueno. I think they double that number. And they put up some points against this Mooshit Bucs secondary, Jovan. And the Bucs carry the weight in this one for the majority of it. All the Saints need to do is put the ball in the end zone twice, and this game soars over. The Bucs will do the rest of the work here. Look, this game means something for them. They got to win for seeding and playoff purposes, Jovan. And against this terrible Saints defense that has guys like Chase Young running around that have no effort, no heart whatsoever. Baker Mayfield oozes hearts. No way those guys slow him down or stop him. He didn't hear no bell, and Mike Evans didn't either. He needs to get a couple more receiving yards as well. In this game, the Bucs offense is going to look great, like they've looked all season. Why do people keep doubting them? They put up a big number. They put up 35 points, and the Saints score twice. This game soars over.
Yeah, I think the Bucs are definitely your friend in this one, Krabs. Talk about this game in a little bit, but kind of with you. I like the over in this disgusting, or at least the play is disgusting, Packers-Bears game, sitting at 41. Couple things. I mean, this is kind of a gut play, just like I think the Bears 49ers one that we took a couple weeks ago feels awfully similar. The Bears are coming off of one of the worst primetime games we have watched absolutely all season, which I love backing teams off of that, especially when they're nationally televised games in primetime that we all get to watch. But we all saw just how pitiful that offense was. The defense played, I guess, okay, but I'm not really even giving them credit for, what the offense can do on the other side of the ball. But it was disgusting. So I do think the Bears are going to bounce back from that, especially now when it doesn't matter and you're playing your big brother in the Packers. The other thing, Krabs, you know what I see on the prize picks board for this game?
Well, I was seeing a lot of squares that make me think we're seeing points, especially for the Bears.
Yeah, there's a lot for the Bears, and then there's that pesky Jordan Love 1.5 touchdown square for the same matchup that we took it in PPWC. And you know damn well he's going to spawn with 2 in the first quarter. And speaking of bounce backs, he looked lost for 48 minutes last week against the Vikings defense that suffocated him. He looked like, I mean, obviously they blitzed him a ton. That's what they do. He never looked settled in the pocket. Never got his footing under him. All the underneath options he couldn't hit. He couldn't connect on deep shots. He looked pitiful. So if we're asking for a bounce back spot in this game where the Packers, I think, are still playing for a little bit of something, but they can play pretty loose because God knows what their matchup is going to be on the side. I don't think the Commanders are going to lose. We'll talk about that. So this game really doesn't affect anything for them, but they won't know that at the time. This is where you just throw caution at the wind and you get a Packers Bears game that I think has a lot of points back and forth all the way through.
Jordan Love's got a pick square up there as well. That could help you, that could hurt you, but let's hope he throws one, maybe in his own territory here, because he's got an extremely redded out charts, looking like he's probably going to throw a pick. Let's hope it's in his own territory and maybe the Bears even return it. Make this game weird. I like the Bears. I think they're a live dog in this game. I like points. I like the over. Looking at some of the Bears squares, looking at Caleb Williams squares, I think he puts up a solid performance. And after that goose egg, I think this is a perfect time to back the over and back points. Great play. Love it. Love it. All right, let's keep moving. 2 solid looking overs there. Let's move on to, what do we got, Gatesy? Some blowouts, some favorites we like this weekend. Whoa. Was not expecting that. How about that, Primer? Suck it. Jovan's on the Commanders, -6. How about them apples? Let's start with the Titans on the ML. Jovan, let's play a little trivia game here. Who is the worst team against the spread in the NFL this season? I'll give you a hint. It's my pick right over there.
Sure, the Tennessee Titans.
It's the Tennessee Titans, folks. Yep, they've covered twice, once. Depends on what number you're getting or what site you look at. They've covered once or twice this season, okay? Well, they're not only going to cover this game, well, they're going to win. They have to cover if they want to win because they're favorites. I'm back in this Mooshit team, this horrid organization, in a spot that does not mean anything against the Texans. You know why, Jovan? Because fading the Texans this season has been very profitable. Why not do it one more time? Okay, if only somebody called that and said there's going to be a sophomore slump for the Texans this season, and people thought I had 100 eyeballs. Now look at them, 9-7. Look, they're still in the playoffs, but I think we can all agree that offense and C.J. Stroud has not looked nearly as sharp as he did in his rookie year. Maybe it's because they're playing real opponents, but in this game, not playing a real opponent, but playing the Titans, the worst team in the NFL, not only just on paper, but also the worst against the spread, the worst record in the NFL, but they're favorites against C.J. Stroud's. I don't care who's playing QB. I don't care who's playing for the Texans in this game. That means nothing. I don't give a shit. The Titans are a favorite in this game. If you see the Titans as a favorite in this game, you play them. If you see the Titans, the worst team against the spread in the NFL, as a favorite against anybody in any scenario, you bet them because nobody else wants to. Who else has the stones to back Tennessee in this game against a 9-7 Texans squads? Even without their starters, who gives a shit? Their defense is still good. Well, I'll do it. And seeing that line flip from -1 for the Texans to +1.5 now for the Texans tells me everything I need to know. Titans win this game. They win big. It's a blowout. And they help out their ATS number here, and they finally get their second or maybe third, depends on what site you're looking at, cover and win.
They just announced that Levis is starting too.
Good. Love that.
They
One
did
more
already
run for
say
Mayo
too
guy.
that both quarterbacks are playing, so you're betting on both of them.
Both guys are playing.
Yeah.
You're saying Rudolph is playing as well?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, sure, little competition going into next year. That means points. That means a win.
Could be.
Although, when has a 2-quarterback game ever worked for anybody? Fuck.
Yeah. I don't really know. But
not once.
We'll see if it does now against Davis Mills.
Not once. It does help. You're going against Davis Mills. But yeah, Titans as favorites. I don't care what the scenario is. I'm playing it, and I'm cashing. Let's hear about the Commanders.
Yeah, I'm taking the Commanders. They get their lick back against the Cowboys. Crazy game at home. Obviously, they're massive favorites. Lost that game. I even including the Eagles game in Philly where they look super flat. I would say that was the most shockingly bad Commanders performance that I've watched all season, and it kind of felt like it came out of nowhere. I know it's an NFC East divisional game, so you can never really count anybody out, but that one felt odd. That felt really odd. And now they're going back to Dallas. Yes, they're riding on their high horse a little bit after that incredible win that got them into the playoffs against Atlanta. But this is the same Cowboys team. The last time they were at home, it was, I thought, an oddly short line. The Bucks were like -3.5 on prime time. And what do you know? I mean, Baker, that was one of their worst games that they've played in a handful of weeks here. And that offense looked bad. The defense looked terrible as usual. Cooper Rush had a great game. He diced them all game. It was an odd game, but Cowboys and Cooper Rush got it done in front of everybody on primetime at home. Cool. Now they finish the season after getting porked in Philly. They get porked by the Commanders, who find their way into the playoffs emphatically with a big time win here and book their trip to Tampa, most likely, if Geno Smith can do his job. So, yeah, I'm taking the Commanders.
Yeah, man. You better hope it's Trey Lance and not Cooper Rush. And I think it might be. After hearing Jerry's comments earlier today, he's saying this is a magic show on Sunday. I'm not telling you shit who's playing QB until that day, which kind of tells me that it might be Trey Lance, to be honest with you. A little tryout game for him.
I mean, if it is, I'm laddering.
Okay. The reason why I say that is because Cooper Rush, for some reason, he owns the Commanders. He's 4-1 against us in his career outright. Not against the spread. Outright. It's why he has his job. It's the same exact shit, fucking Daniel Jones, why he had a job for a couple years because of how he played against the Commanders in the division for the Giants. It's the same shit. There's a reason why Cooper Rush still has a job as a backup for the Cowboys, and it's because of how good he's looked against the Commanders. Well, you can make the argument that, well, Krabs, turn on your contrarian brain here and stop being such a bozo fan. If this was any other team, you would be on the other side and saying, well, he's due for an out. And I agree with that. And look, this is the year of you take whatever doesn't make sense for the Commanders and you're profiting, or you just take the opposite of what I say and what I think is going to happen, and you make coins on the Commanders because every time I take them, they don't cover and they lose. Every time I fade them, they win outright emphatically. So I think the Cowboys are a live dog here in this spot. So go ahead and take your Commanders, lock them in -6, and that's a great looking wager because I think I'm 0-18 or 0-17 picking this team this season. You're in a good spot. You're in good hands.
There you go.
And you better just hope it's Trey Lance, man, because Cooper Rush scares the heck out of me. Nightmares about that guy playing against the Commies. Nightmares.
Yeah. Well, if it's Cooper Rush, I mean, obviously I'm taking it as so, but I did just like look up some of the reports, which are very odd that they're not saying who's going to start at quarterback. So God knows
it might be
Trey Lance, and
who knows.
I know he needs some incentive to play. Like he needs to play like a handful of snaps to get his incentive. Cooper Rush does. So if he doesn't get the start because of that too, that would be
that's so fucked up, Jerry.
Unbelievable by Jerry.
That's all the bitch work that Cooper Rush has done to be in the backup on that team the last couple of years, only playing when Dak's hurt, getting no respects, beating the Commanders. That's messed up, man. Give the guys coins. Jerry, you are richer than God. Why do these owners penny pinch and act like they have no money? It's the weirdest look. Wouldn't you want to look like a nice owner since you have infinity money and it's not even going to affect your wallet? Wouldn't you want to look like a nice, good guy that pays out their players' incentives? Maybe that would make more players want to go and play there. I don't fucking know. It's the weirdest thing. It makes no sense to my brain. It's so weird. It's like owners versus players, like a vendetta or something. I don't know what it is, but it's the weirdest trend in the NFL that happens when ownership comes in and says, don't play that guy, or don't pass him the rock, or let's not start that guy because he's got an incentive. A couple $1,000, shit, $100,000 is a penny to these owners. It makes no sense. I don't get it. It's fucked up. You never see our new owner do that. Josh Harris, no. Jerry Jones, sure,
never.
He would do that. And with that being said, take Zach Ertz, his receptions, because I think he only needs a couple more this weekend to eclipse his incentive. And I'm sure they'll pay him out after a great season.
I thought he had some last week.
How many catches did he get last week?
I don't know.
Did he get 6? Oh, he did get 6. He actually smacked it in that game. So he's rich already. Good. He's rich already. Okay. All right, let's move on to our upsets. Let's move on to our underdogs. Teams we think are going to be barking. Gootsy, do you want to tell the people what I told you before BTL today about the Vikings, or do you want me to paraphrase for you? You got it?
I can tell him.
Okay.
You told me something about going to the bank, taking out a loan for this bet. meat on table, upset alert,
Sure.
house on it.
Well,
That sums it up.
Goots made it seem like I'm actually going to go walk into a bank and do that. This is the go to a loan shark, ask for some money, you'll pay him back next week, POD. Okay, I'm not actually going to do that. Okay, but this is a figure of speech, I guess is the right way to put it there, Goots. Yes, the Vikings are looking at me funny, and this is by far, besides the meat on tape play, honestly, I'd put it right up there with it. Favorite play of the weekend, Minnesota Vikings. And to be honest, you can keep the points. I take the plus 2.5 because I love it. It's good vibes, and it typically pays out. But and my units might be a little bit higher than most people. And if that's the case, I'd be more inclined to take the points than the ML. But the Vikings are a live dog this weekend. Jovan, who the heck thinks they're going to pull off the upset on the road against the Lions? Legitimately. Nobody. Does anybody think Sam Darnold's finishing the job? No.
Probably not.
Nobody does. Probably not. You'd be a crazy person to think that way, right? Going into Detroit, beating Jared Goff, beating Dan Campbell, beating this Lions team that just seems like a team of destiny this season. And Jovan, the Vikings haven't beaten the Lions since 2022. All right. The last 4 times they played, the Lions have spanked that ass. Okay. And the Vikings almost did it earlier this year. I will say that was one of the closer games. And I think the Vikings get their lick back. And they split this year. And they get a win on the road outright. But I'll take the plus 2.5 just in case there's any fluke shit. The Vikings down from 4.5 to 2.5 on the look ahead line, Jovan. Sam Darnold rolls into there and wins the fucking division. Kevin O'Connell hangs the sack out, drops it on tape, and says, Dan Campbell, I don't just stand up here and yell. I coach. I know X's and O's. And that's going to help this team get to the next fucking level. Guys, this Vikings team was plus 1,200 to win the division preseason. You know what the odds makers didn't account for? Kevin O'Connell's giant fucking brain. Plain and simple. Look at the season. Look at what this Vikings team has achieved. Bringing in Brian Flores to run the defense. Well, he's about to be a head coach somewhere. He could hand select his next fucking job. This team is unbelievable, and it starts at the top. It starts with Kevin O'Connell, and he's going in there, and he's beating Jared Goff, and he's beating Ben Johnson, and he's beating Dan Campbell, and he's beating the big and bad Lions, who everybody thinks are unbeatable. Well, I'll tell you right now, the Vikings are going in there winning outright. But I'll take the points because I'm soft.
Sure. Love the meat on tables from you, Krabs.
Yeah.
Love when you come in.
Love that play this weekend.
Dropping meat for a play.
Love that play this weekend.
It's huge. I'm gonna go with Bryce Young +8. It's my upset, which it's gonna be a weird game because I don't think the Bucs are losing, obviously, against the Saints at home. And the only way this game means something, it's happening at the same time, so there's not going to be like any advance notice. But I think the Falcons know, as well as everybody knows, the Bucs are going to win that game, and the Falcons blew their chance last week. So what better time for Bryce Young to stroll into Atlanta and Dave Canales to stroll into Atlanta and see just how far you can stretch that playbook, just how much Bryce Young can do in a situation where nothing really matters for them because they're kind of already in the thick of, I don't know, the back end of those draft picks. So it's not like they're like truly fighting to be at the top there, nor are they trying to get a quarterback, obviously, because Bryce Young's the guy. But this is a perfect spot. We have a total of 48 in this game. I love points in this game, too. No honorable mention, I guess, for the over segment. But we're going to get points. This is the perfect time to let it all out. Dave Canales against this defense, too. He loves the schematic defense that they play over there in Atlanta, and he didn't really get a job or didn't really get a real shot to take him down the first time because they were dealing with a lot of injuries then. That was kind of at the top arc of when they were dealing with the whole quarterback situation as well. So now you got Bryce Young playing really, really well. He's had a bunch of really good performances against these top teams too. They kind of ran into a buzzsaw with the Bucs last week in a game that they knew they had to have in emphatic fashion, and they did just that. The Falcons with Penix at the helm, you know what I think they're going to try to do in this game too, Krabs? I think to open the game, because they're going to have eyes. They'll never tell you they have eyes on what's happening in Tampa, but you know they will. The Panthers' run D is really, really bad. We've seen everybody take advantage of it all week. They're going to be managing the game early. It's going to be a lot of Bijan. It's going to be a lot of Algier. And then by the end, when nothing else matters, they're going to open it up. And I think that works a lot more for Bryce Young to keep this close than it does Michael Penix to blow them out the other way. So give me a weird game. I would not be shocked if the Panthers win this one outright and make it so it really wouldn't have mattered if the Bucs would have lost to the Saints anyway, because Bryce Young had something to say about it.
Yeah, Bryce Young might be back. I don't know if that's a good thing for the Panthers or not. We'll see if he's actually legit, but it's good to see him at least play better so far this season. I don't know if I'm fully bought back in yet, but yeah, this is the Panthers team we've been waiting for since the beginning of the year that we thought had a chance to do this early on. We put him in one of our goat whales and we look like fucking idiots. Well, now he's starting to show up and do his job, right? Who's to say he can't get one more? And I do like the +8, +7.5, whatever you can get, Jovan. I actually like the over in this game as well. Falcons defense has looked much better the last 3 weeks or so, but we saw how bad they can be for the 3 months before that. They can be bad. And I think Bryce Young probably slices and dices that defense with the plenty of weapons he's got. With guys like Adam Thielen, who are just, probably going to go out there and drop 30 fantasy points once again, because that's what Adam Thielen does when he's healthy. It's crazy that he's doing that in the big 2-4, big 2-5. Adam Thielen still got some juice left in the tank. And he'll probably go out there and tweak. If you have him in your fantasy lineup and you got one more week left, think about playing him. I like points in this game. I like Carolina to cover. I'm with you. I like it.
Yep.
I fear the Lions logo spawning in Jovan's Meet on Ted page. Well, that would suck, Richie Parlay, if that's the case, but we'll see.
No, not there.
Couple subbies coming in. Alex F80 coming in, dropping a resub for 32 months. Let's go, Alex. He says, Skull. Sure, Vikings fan. We got Budman coming in, resubbing. W Fellows, Budman. W's Budman. Matt Latt coming in, resubbing. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for these subbies. I'm seeing people in chat talking about Georgetown tonight in CBB. I lean the other way, but I'm not fading Ed Cooley's boys right now. They're red hot. They might be back. I'm not fading them. I got to sit back and see how that one plays out. Very, very excited to see how that one plays out at Cap One Arena tonight, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Is this Georgetown team legit? Are they ahead of schedule? Is Ed Cooley pulling some fucking rabbits out of his hat? Is he a magician once again? Is he turning the program around? Well, he just might be, because Georgetown's silently 11-2. But, I mean, you know what I would lean in that game. And it's the Musketeers without their best player getting a 1.5. But I can't do it. Not fading streaks, not fading red hot teams, not fading Ed Cooley's boys, who the odds makers just might not have adjusted yet. Okay. Let's stay locked in here, chat, and finish NFL before we get to CBB. I know you guys are getting excited for today, but I promise you we got time. Okay. Not many games today anyways. Let's finish up NFL. Let's keep powering through. Okay. What else we got? Meet on Ted's?
Meet.
Wow. You want to go first? It is your box.
I'm interested to hear you first talk about Josh Dobbs +4.5.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about what was the point I was bringing up earlier? The chat we were talking about where these players are playing for their lives, and by lives I mean jobs. These players are playing for a spot on the team next year. They're playing for depth chart. They're playing for themselves, right? They're playing for self-respect reasons. They're playing for more than just the win. And there's going to be effort still in that field. And what do we know about the 49ers? We know that this team, when they're sharp, when they should win, they fucking don't. And they cost all of us coins, and they suck. And they are the worst. And I can't stand them, just like all the other sharps who've lost coins to this team. But when the 49ers shouldn't win, or when they have no business winning, Jovan, that's when they typically show up and show out. Okay. And I thought it'd be last week with the 49ers. And you know what? I didn't hear no bell. I'm betting them again because I'm not soft. I'm betting the 49ers with Josh Dobbs. No Brock Purdy, no problem. Josh Dobbs, one of the smartest guys in the NFL. I don't care if he's a backup. He's playing for his job and his future career in the NFL. And I'll tell you what, Shanahan's still going to coach like it's a game to make the playoffs. Shanahan did not hear no bell. I know he and the GM, John Lynch, they got the thumbs up saying they're back for next year. But I guarantee you, after they talked with the owner turned around and said, well, they got one more year. We'll see how that year goes. They're definitely on thin ice. They're not in a great spot, as great as they were when they were taking teams to Super Bowls a couple of years ago. They got to show them something. And if there's one thing I know about Kyle Shanahan, it's that he's an asshole, and then he's going to coach his fucking heart out no matter what the situation is. Plain and simple. Last week, he worked those guys harder than he did all season, he said in practice. He said they had some two-a-days when they're eliminated from the playoffs. That's what Shanahan does. That's probably why they suck, because he's like a contrarian coach. He does stuff that doesn't make sense. And they probably had a hard week of practice this week as well. And their identity out there in San Fran, Jovan, it might not go with the Cali identity, but the San Fran identity for this football team, blue collar, hardworking. I didn't hear no bell. So Josh Dobbs looking at me funny +4.5. Are you fucking kidding me? Against the Cardinals, who also have nothing to play for. And they are the definition of fat, happy, and complacent when Kyler Murray has no reason to try or play hard. James Conner as well is going to be a big-time loss for that team. It's got to be the 49ers. And I'll tell you what, you might not need the points. I think they win this game outright.
I'm definitely firing up some Josh Dobbs squares this season or this week because
Good.
I mean you already been dealing with a million injuries in the running back room. Period. So like now you get a time for Josh Dobbs to shine for one game, and a game that means absolutely nothing. He is going to be letting it fly and probably running too. He ran one in his one drive I think last week, but
Sure.
yeah, I'm in. I'd be so down to back Josh Dobbs.
I mean, look, it has to be. I'm not happy about it. You guys, 90% of you guys in BTN now, I'm not happy about this. I don't make the rules. I just abide by them, right?
As
And
you should.
49ers with their backups and Josh Dobbs involved, plus 4.5 against the Cardinals, who are just a better team overall this season on the road for San Fran here. I'm legally obligated to take this bet. Not by choice. Has to be done.
Yeah. 100%
Has to be done.
Down.
And side note, it's a winner. What do you like about the Bucs?
That helps. You know what I like about the Bucs, Krabs?
Hmm.
You know how many times the Brady Bucks, because this is really the only time the Bucks would be this big of favorites, like just period, because they weren't going to be this big favorites with Mike Glennon, Jameis Winston, or any of the rat meat quarterbacks. But to use the Brady Bucks, you know how many times they're 13.5-point favorites?
0.
One time. It was against the Matt Ryan Falcons the year after they won the Super Bowl. It was early in the season, so like the slurp was still there, and they covered. But seeing them at 13.5 is crazy. I am well aware this is the New Orleans Saints with Spencer Rattler at quarterback, but just like DeGen, I think, said a little earlier when we were talking about the game, this is a divisional game where the Saints, there's a lot of hatred between the Bucs and the Saints. There always is. In late season, especially when they shouldn't have a fighting chance. Really, it goes both ways. When the Saints shouldn't have a fighting chance against the Bucs, they show up and play with heart. When the Bucs show up with a fighting chance, without a fighting chance against the Saints, they play them close for absolutely no reason. Whether it's in Tampa, whether it's in New Orleans, not this time. The Bucs are going to absolutely destroy them, and I think any little bit of heart that you're going to see from the Saints in this game probably could come from the defense. I wouldn't be surprised if the Bucs offense starts out a little slow, but Spencer Rattler has been putrid against any sort of pressure, any sort of blitz. Started back in the game that he played, and I guess really started before that, but even when we had him playing Todd Bowles defense the first time, he was awful. So like the thing that I can't stand about Todd Bowles defense the most, outside of the really soft coverages, outside of I guess the DB room in itself being really, really bad, he doesn't have like a timer on when to blitz. He just does it, and even when it's not the situation to do it, he will do it. Thing is that works against Spencer Rattler because he is so horrendous against the blitz. So if he wants to do that all game, this is the rare time where I think Todd Bowles is in a really good spot to do it, and he's going to make Rattler very, very uncomfortable. And this is the game. Obviously, we have the Bucs needing a win to get into the playoffs. You have Mike Evans going for incentives. You got Baker, who I don't know. I love Jaden Daniels, but I could not tell you how he made the Pro Bowl over Baker Mayfield. That was crazy. He's got another.
I'll tell you why he's the best player in the NFL. That's why.
I would expect you to say that, Krabs. I would expect you to say that. But yeah, you want to add another chip to Baker's shoulder, I am sure. And then all of that on top of it, you have a putrid Saints run defense where you get to see Bucky Irving, Rashad White is going to get carries, Sean Tucker is going to get carries, and he's probably going to get in the end zone. There's no shortage of weapons, of course. This is a spot where you don't get to do it multiple times in a season if you're the Bucs beating the Saints like this, but they're going to beat them badly.
Anybody else hear Goots making noise when I said he's the best player in the world? Or was that just me?
Making a little bit of noise. And speaking of that chip on Baker's shoulder, he's about to get the guy who made the Pro Bowl over him probably round one.
Let me ask you guys this. If you were an NFL GM and you were starting up a dynasty team in real life with all these players, you have the number 1 overall pick. You just got blessed. Congratulations. Who are you drafting? Who's the first player you're drafting? Number 1 overall pick. Besides Brian Thomas, who are you drafting? Besides Sam Laporta and Brian Thomas and any Ravens from Goots, who are you drafting?
Bucky Irving.
Okay. Besides anybody on the Bucs or named Bucky or any Ravens or Sam Laporta or Brian Thomas Jr., who are you drafting?
Josh Allen.
Besides Josh Allen and any Bucs or any Ravens from Goots or Brian Thomas or any of the guys coming out of Javon's mouth who he slurps, Who are you drafting number 1 overall?
Pat Mahomes.
No.
I haven't
you're not
seen
drafting
Malik
Mahomes.
Neighbors yet. I feel like he
You're
could
not
put his hat in
drafting
the ring.
Mahomes over Jaden Daniels in this economy. No.
In this economy in 2025?
Give me Riley Leonard.
Goots. Can we mute Goots for a second? Respect. Look, I know he's on cloud 9. Good for the Irish to get one last night. Nobody deserves it more than Goots. Okay, let me go and get that on record. I'm gonna have to put that button on mute. YGF Taylor coming in resubbing. Sub anniversary. Let's go YGF. Sure we can. Love it. Sam Hartman. Sure. All right. Well, guys, the answer is Jaden Daniels. You fucking bozos. What are you doing beating around the bush, wasting our time for? It's Jaden Daniels. That's the right answer. Okay. Any other answer is either a funny joke or an incorrect answer. Okay. Jaden Daniels. Number 1.
Emmanuel Forbes. Good shout from chat.
Okay. Yeah. I feel bad for Mikey. I'll be honest. Imagine seeing what occurred in DC over the last decades, half a decade. I don't want to wrap Gruden into this, right? He doesn't need to get involved in this. Last half a decade. Imagine seeing what occurred down there, not too far away. Goots, a quick Amtrak, if it doesn't shut down or there's not an electrical fire, a quick 2-3 hour Amtrak away. The Jets saw that occur. They saw Ron Rivera draft Emmanuel Forbes over Christian Gonzalez. They saw him draft the worst players of all time, who I will, save you guys some time and refrain from getting even more angry. And they interviewed Ron Rivera for a head coaching job. What are they smoking up there in New York?
Actually crazy.
That might be, I don't care if we're going to run out of time, because this might be the most ridiculous thing in the history of sports to be occurring this week. Ron Rivera getting an interview with the Jets. You got to be a different type of stupid as an owner. You got to be a different type of untapped. You got to have no clue what's going on, not only right now, but for the last half a decade in the league that your team partakes in. You got to be a different type of dumb. That guy does not deserve an interview at a grocery store to fucking bag him, let alone to be a head coach in the NFL again. Are you kidding me? That guy said he didn't have time to coach the last 4 or 5 years in DC. And he said the thing he was looking forward to the most in his last game was actually being able to. Buddy, you're the head coach of the team. What the fuck else were you doing? Didn't have time to coach. You're the head coach. What do you mean you didn't have time to coach? That's duty number 1 as head coach. You coach. What are you talking about? And you're giving that guy an interview. Are you fucking blind or are you stupid? Did April Fool's Day get moved up to January 3rd? That is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Who's the Jets owner? Somebody give me his name. What's his name? Because I don't know it off the top of my head. Anybody know the Jets owner? Reed Johnson?
Woody Johnson. Yeah.
Woody Johnson. Oh,
Woody.
I've heard that guy's name. I've seen him getting dragged across the Twitter this whole season. Woody Johnson. You make Dan Schneider look like a great guy. You make Dan Schneider look like a stand-up fella. It's a shame what he's doing to that team up there in New York. It's a shame. Giving Ron Rivera an interview. You fucking kidding me? That's embarrassing. Mikey, I'm sorry, man. That is absurd. BJ Cheek coming in resub. I'd love to see it. Love to see it. You're better off having Bookit be your head coach than Ron Rivera. Straight up. Straight
It's
up.
crazy seeing what we saw out of him in North Texas.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, and that's with his NCAA 24 records involved. Yes. With those coaching decisions. Ron Rivera is a bozo. And he belongs in a home, not on the field. Okay, we'll leave it at that. That's just absurd. So many people who actually deserve jobs, just not going to get them because of Ron Rivera. Oh, ridiculous. All right. Prize Pick Squares. Jovan, would love to hear about them. Let's go to yours first. I want to change it up a little bit here. Let's go to your Prize Pick Squares first. 2 goats. Speak of the Devils. All right. So you do like these guys this weekend, huh?
I haven't had a week where I could go to my goats and go to the grave with it, multiple of them together, maybe all season. And I'm glad that we're finally here. And I've been taking Brian for the last handful of weeks, and it's worked out pretty well. Now You get to play a Colts defense that's been getting absolutely shredded as of late. I mean, really all season, but especially as of late, they've been absolutely pitiful. And you have a pretty heated race. You want to talk about incentives? You didn't get money for this, probably will in the long run, but rookie receiver receiving yards. That's a heated race. I think he's 35 ahead of Bowers and 40 ahead of Malik Neighbors. They've talked very openly about making sure he gets his due respect. And speaking of getting your due respect, not only do you get it by getting the record, but Brian Thomas, Zay Flowers, and Jerry Jeudy getting in over the Pro Bowl or in the Pro Bowl over him, absolute joke. So same reason as like Baker. You want to put more of a chip on his shoulder. Mac Jones has already talked about feeding him to get the rookie receiving lead for the season. And he's been doing it anyway because they finally realized halfway through the season, hey, Brian Thomas is pretty good at football. Maybe we don't just need to send him deep every single play and only feed him when that happens. We can get him involved in a variety of ways. You're playing a Colts defense that blew their shot last week by giving up 45 to Drew Lock. They've been getting torched really all season, especially as of late, down the field and just in every form and facet by all of these outside wide receivers. Brian Thomas, when you look at his receiving yards at the end of this game, just like he's had for a handful of weeks now, there's going to be 3 numbers next to it, not less than 82. So taking him. And Sam Laporta, sneakily, he was hurt at the beginning of the season. He was kind of crawling through it. He was Joe Alt for a bit, a lot of blocking. As of the last couple weeks, he's been heating up. And you know what the Vikings do best? They blitz a lot, just like Todd Bowles and the Bucks. What does that do? That leaves the middle of the field open. That's why some of the very few big plays that like the Packers had for last week, for example, were big shots over the middle of the field. I think Tucker Kraft had 1 or 2 big ones over the middle of the field. That was one of the only chunk plays that the Packers had on offense. So in the Lions case, I guess, the first time they played, Amon-Ra tore them to shreds, and a lot of that was over the middle of the field. That was at the point where Sam Laporta was really ailing with that injury, but ever since the last couple of weeks, he's kind of taken over that full role now that he's fully healthy and he's starting to boom in that same exact area. So Sam Laporta is going to have a big day if the Lions do win this game, or God forbid they're trailing like you're hoping. That would be great. Jared Goff's going to be slinging it to him all game. This is where he comes to play. The biggest moments. Got a couple touchdowns the last handful of weeks. Wouldn't be surprised if he gets in, in the end there, but he is going to be their chunk play guy over the middle. So I'm taking my goats.
Love it. And you're not just blindly taking them. You like their matchups. You like the Brian Thomas going for that rookie records, and you're liking that Laporta is looking healthy as an ox, knock on wood, in recent weeks and starting to look like himself. I'd be lying if I told you I didn't look at those Laporta squares as well in a game that I think is going to be a square over that hits, in a game that's going to be the best game of the season, potentially back and forth action. Although the Vikings end up on top, I do think the Lions put up some points as well and carry their weight. And I think you could take the majority of the squares involving either team in that game on Prize Picks, and you're probably making out like a bandit if you have it more than locked in. It's going to be a cinema watching that Sunday Night Football game. My goodness. And Laporta, whether the Vikings win or lose, he's getting involved.
Yeah, I don't think he needs I don't think he needs volume because I think he's going to be chunk plays over the middle. I saw a stat on Twitter the other day. He's out of all tight ends, he's got, I forget if it was just percentage wise, but I think he's got the most chunk plays in all of the NFL, which is crazy because he wasn't even he was barely active for the start of the season because he was hurt, but he's still putting up numbers the last couple weeks now.
Yeah, he's looking better. He's not just blocking like you're saying. He's not just Joe Alt, and they're going to need him. Not just blocking in this game when they need some points, when they're down 10, halfway through the second quarter. I'm in. Sign me up. And Brian Thomas, no comment even needed. He's him.
Got it.
Okay. 2 Prize Pick squares I like this weekend, guys. Debated on a couple Russell Wilson squares. I like his more than 1.5 touchdowns. I like his more than passing yards. Honestly, I kind of like the over in that game as square as it is, but the Bengals defense has been kind of solid recently. The Steelers defense we know is always solid. But I just keep going back and forth, or I keep going back to, in my head, seeing a vision of Joe Burrow and Russell Wilson just in this game, just going off and just having a time, having a day. And let's make this a little nastier, a little more contrarian. I ended up going with the less than interception square because Russ has thrown a couple recently, Jovan. And what does Russ do, right? He throws the ball as high and far as he can down the field to one of his stud receivers, George Pickens mainly. And it's super sketchy because you think it's going to get picked off. And the next thing you know, Pickens has the ball in his hands and he's running in the end zone or at least getting a big chunk play. This is a scary square that people don't want to lock in because they don't have the stones to take less than interceptions on Russell Wilson, who's thrown a lot in recent weeks, who throws the ball downfield a lot, and against the Bengals defense that in the last couple of weeks, they've actually had a pulse, right? I'll tell you right now, this is the nastiest square on Prize Picks that's hitting. It's Russell Wilson, less than half a pick. Sure, he's going to take his shots downfield, but he's going to be fucking locked in. He's going to be carrying his Steelers to a win in this game, in my opinion. I do think they pull off the upset, and I surely like the plus 2.5. I think the Bengals are just cursed, and I think they get this far, and they actually fall flat on their face on the road, which would be a hilarious ending to the season for Joe Burrow and this Bengals team that if they didn't have a coach that was Ron Rivera 2.0, they might actually be already in the playoffs at this point. Zach Taylor might as well be Ron Rivera, right? Tomato. Russell Wilson, he's throwing the ball downfield in this game, sure, but I've already seen it. He ain't throwing a pick. He's locked in, and I think he ends up carrying his team to a win. And then Terry McLaurin. Nobody deserves it more than two guys. Goots getting that Notre Dame win last night, and Terry McLaurin getting another touchdown and setting the record for the Commanders, most touchdowns in a season for a wide receiver. Those are two things I know, Jovan. Terry McLaurin, great guy, great leader, unbelievable receiver. I'm so happy that people actually get to see it now this year with a good QB. This is what Terry could have been doing every year, being a top 5 receiver if he had not Taylor Heineke, bless his heart, under center. Terry McLaurin is a top 5 receiver in the NFL. Plain and simple. If you disagree, you are wrong, and he's one touchdown away from making history as a Washington Commander for 13 receiving touchdowns in a season, which would be a record history. And I'll tell you what, Jovan, watching him and JD5, the chemistry between those two gents, it's like they've been playing together for years. He's finding his guy in the end zone. He had a dud last week. That's why I love this square even more. I'll take the fucking I'll take the Demon square. I don't care. I'm not taking fantasy score. I'm not taking receiving yards. I'll take the Demon tutty. He's making history, and JD5 is getting this guy in the end zone, making history for the Commanders. Most touchdowns ever for a receiver, 13. Shit, he might get to.
Wow.
Terry McLaurin.
I could be so in.
He's finding the end zone.
So in for
He's
that.
finding the end zone. Last week, dropped a goose egg. Last week was Zach Ertz week. This week, JD5 gets his guy Terry right.
While we're talking touchdowns in that game, Brian Robinson is for sure also scoring.
100%. And he's up on Prize Picks for a normal square. For his sake, for my sake, for the Commander's sake, I didn't put that on here. Because if I do, that's the only way it doesn't smack.
For
right?
Dave Portnoy's sake, too.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be thankful as well. He wants that guy fucking dead after last week. Hilarious. Terry McLaurin is finding the end zone, and Brian Robinson Jr. probably is as well. Yes. Sure.
Yep.
All right. Can I bet Terry touchdown on Diggs? Diggs is out for the season, my man. Somebody hasn't been watching ball in chat. Diggs is out for the season. Okay. This is how Krabs was towards VT early fall. Yeah, what am I supposed to do? Hate my team's guts before the season starts? No, I'm trying to be happy and root for them before the season starts. Come on. God, I'm still somehow getting so much shit for gassing up the Hokies 6 months ago, Jovan. I learned my lesson on that one.
That was crazy. The second Pat McAfee put VT in the playoff on I forget if that was on game day or some other show, I knew they were cooked. Not that I had much hope for them really at the start of the season anyway, but once I saw that, I was like, yeah, can we slow down?
We got Big Rob boots on ground at the Mayo Bowl today. No way.
Wow.
No way Big Rob is there. Sure.
Speaking of bowls,
he said he likes the over.
That real quick.
Yeah, let's talk about it for a sec. We do got to wrap this up soon. I don't know if we have a search today. But yeah, boots on ground for the Mayo Bowl. Hilarious. He says he likes the over. I actually like the over as well because it makes no fucking sense and it's gross. I would take the over in this game too if I had to. Or you could just take Minnesota team total over.
Sure. Or just take Minnesota.
Or just take Minnesota spread. You have any thoughts on the other bowl game, Jovan, that starts up in 2 hours, the early start, North Texas, Texas State?
I do have some thoughts, Krabs. Because this game put my head in a pretzel because like Texas State, they're 2 touchdown favorites, right? Because North Texas is, I don't know, they're starting a freshman walk-on quarterback who has kind of a crazy story. He didn't even start like at his high school, first high school team. And this is going to be the first shot that he's getting as a full starter for this game. He's not going to be like the quarterback of the future or anything for him, but crazy story. So like once that all got announced, there's a lot of opt-outs, I guess, on either side. Opt-outs are, I guess, more so transfers from each side. The the total dipped down because it started pretty much where it is now. It got down from like 65.5 to like 61.5. And with the line really not moving at all as far as the spread goes, that total is right back up where it started, which I thought is really interesting. Not that a total that high would look irregular with both of these teams in the first place, but when one of them is massive underdogs with a freshman walk-on quarterback who has thrown like 3 passes all time, something looks kind of off in that game. So
Yeah.
I kind of thinking North Texas might stay in a little bit. I want to take the over. I'm still hoping they put up some more squares for that game, but my default go back to is that freshman quarterback's passing yards. I feel like there's something in the tank, and North Texas is like Washington State Junior, where it really doesn't matter who you put back there because the system just makes them sling it regardless. So it's kind of plug and play. So I kind of want to take the over in that game in Dallas.
Drew Mestemaker.
Yeah.
What a name.
Literal
Unbelievable.
goat.
Drew Mestemaker. Just sounds like a North Texas QB. 216.5 passing yards. People are taking it. It's crazy. One of the more popular squares on Prize Picks for college football. Probably.
I would assume they're fading it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I like the over in that game. I like the over in both games today in college football. Okay. And side note, I really like Buffalo tomorrow in the 11 a.m. Eastern game on Saturday. Not going to have time to probably bring that one up again, but really like Buffalo. They win that game on the roads, or not on the, of course, on the roads in fucking the Bahamas, against Liberty, who just lost, Caden Salter, who's going to be going to Colorado. Fuck that guy next year. And a lot of the other guys opting out for Liberty. So it's got to be Buffalo, who ended their season very strong. They will not have as many opt-outs, not even close. There's a reason why they flipped from +3.5 to -3. That's one of my favorite plays of the weekend. So I want to get that one out there. It's got to be the Buffalo Bulls. They finished the season strong. One of the best seasons they've had since I followed college football. Good for Buffalo.
Sure.
Okay. Jovan, why don't we get to the squad ride here, unless you have any other notes for college football tonight, this weekend. The floor is yours.
No, I'm ready to get to it.
Let's hop into it. Gootsy, run that shit. I want to see that damn train. All right, can we clap it up for the squad ride last night? Can we clap it up for the squad ride? Great work last night. 1-0 in the new year, chat. Can we make it 2-0 before the weekends? Why not us? Okay, let's lock the fuck in today. Let's lock in. Let's be sharp. Let's click the right buttons, as always in chats. And Jovan, we leaned on your play yesterday. I want to make sure that that the people hear how much I like this play today. Ohio State on the ML in college basketball. As long as it's not too juicy right now, I need to check the line.
Check. I like that play a lot from you too. So I'm 100%
It's
down.
got to go in. It's got to go in. Ohio State ML system play. Unranked team is a favorite against a ranked opponent, and I like the matchup for Ohio State, and I like the Buckeyes in general. And it's time to fade Coach Izzo, who's been on fire.
Oh my God!
Got to be Ohio State.
Kentucky tomorrow, dude. Wow, I didn't even know that.
Great game. Some great SEC matchups in college basketball tomorrow. Some great ones.
Yeah,
Jovan, what do you want to put in here?
Kentucky ML tomorrow. I don't know. I like all my plays a lot. I'm interested to hear which ones you like the most. You got the hockey over, the Wizards over, and Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mean, you said you liked the Wizards over the most.
Yeah, probably not by much, though.
I think I liked your hockey over the most, as crazy as that sounds. Did your hockey over hit yesterday? Oh, you swept yesterday. Stupid question.
Yeah, it did.
Let's put that in there.
Anytime the Sabres go down in a game and you have the over, or go up in a game, and you have the over, you can pretty much cash it because whoever's coming up or is coming back against them. Doesn't really matter.
So we'll put the Canadians, Blackhawks over 6.5. Can you confirm it's still at that juicy over 6.5?
It is. You're getting some plus chick for it.
Hell yeah. Good. Anyone in chat tell me what 2 picks Jovan had again for Prize Picks? Money Mike, it is going across the bottom bar. If you need those plays from the Sharp Report, okay, it is going across the bottom ticker there in orange. I think that's orange, right? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. W first timer there, Money Mike. Appreciate the question. Thanks for the follow. Okay. Jovan, people are following because of your freaking crazy streak in these bowl game squares. So keep it up.
Yeah.
Hey, you deserve the flowers there.
Today. Some tough games, tough squares.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy, and it involves Virginia Tech. So I'm wishing you the best. And it's probably best if I just keep my opinions out of that one. Very curious to see what you put in that one. All right, we've got 2 plays in there as of right now. I like that Wizards over as well. We can keep out the Minnesota Pelicans moneyline parlay. I like Iona in CBB, but I don't love them. And I also wouldn't mind just, locking in a 2-piece poll or even a third if you have another play you want to put in there. We could put that Pelicans Wizards over if you want to involve the NBA. I probably like that better than Wisconsin laying a touchdown. I do think they win, but a little bit sketched out about that number getting steamed up.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for the Wizards over.
Am I seeing 233 right now? It got bumped up a half.
I still see 232.5.
Yeah, 232.5. Cool. Let's run it. 3 plays, 3 winners. We'll let the chat decide. We've got a diversified portfolio, 1 CBB, 1 NBA, and 1 NHL. Jovan, you in?
So in.
Sure. Chat, 3 plays, 3 winners. You got 2 minutes to lock in your vote. Hurry up, go, go, go. We got Ohio State ML. We got the Canadians Blackhawks over 6.5, and the Wizards Pelicans over 232.5. Hurry up, go, go, go. Click the right button, change a life. Click the right button, change a life. Let's stay undefeated, knock on wood, in the new year, and let's go 2-0 this week on squad rides. Come on. Let's stay hot. All right. 3 plays, 3 winners, chat. Diversified portfolio. You got Ohio State ML in CBB. You got the over in the Canadians Blackhawks game on the ice, and you've got the over in the Wizards Pelicans game in the association. Some fun plays. Okay, you got a cool college basketball play up at the top involving 2 pretty solid programs. Right? It's not like it's Ball Sack State. At least it's a real game on probably TV for you. And 2 overs. All right. So it is a Friday, right? It is the weekend. And Jovan, even if it was subconscious, we did give the people some fun plays to choose from for today. So love that. Love
fun
that.
Plays involving the Canadians, Blackhawks, Wizards, and Pelicans.
Well, yeah, the games might not be great, but at least they're overs.
Yeah.
Sure.
Buzzer pack a day that I locked in was Iona, Wisconsin. The ML.
Wow. Iona ML and Wisconsin ML.
Yeah, I hate fading Izzo, so I went with Iona. I also like that sell drop better from you, Krabs.
Yeah, I do like Iona. They burned all the sharps in that last game. They probably bounced back at home. Okay.
And Jovan disappeared.
And there he goes. See ya. We'll get it back up here. Chat, 3 plays, 3 winners. Lock in those votes. It's looking like it's going to be Ohio State. Maybe you guys have some good vibes from taking the Buckeyes earlier. Love that. Gucci, am I missing anything else to plug for today? Probably not, right? Should be good to go. Tanji is at 19.5 now. Jovan, is he clearing? I'll answer that for the first-time chatter. Driscoll, probably botching that name, but W first-time chatter. Yes, he is clearing that number, and Jovan said it's a full go at that increased price on Prize Picks. Good sign. Getting bumped up 3 points in CBB. That does not happen often. Okay? 3-point bumps do not grow on trees. All right. Ohio State on the ML. W's. I'm very happy about that. If you guys couldn't tell, that's what I wanted to be the squad ride today anyways. And W. Jovan staying hot on the college football plays. Make sure you check out his Twitter for his bowl game plays today. Check out the Bookit BTL Twitter account for plays for this weekend as well. We appreciate you guys listening this week, getting back on the saddle and locking in for the new year. Let's stay perfect on the squad rides, knock on wood. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow, same time, same place. We'll be